राहों की मुश्किलों से हौसला लेना है, हार के सायों को उजाला दिखाना है, जारी रखना है, अपनी उम्मीद को जारी रखना है। गिर के चलना नहीं, मुझे उड़ना है, औरों से नहीं पहले खुद से जीतना है। जारी रखना है, जारी रखना है, अपने यकीन को जारी रखना है। जमीन पे चलकर आसमां छूना है, जो हुआ ना कभी उसे करना है। जारी रखना है, जारी रखना है, तुझे मंजिल का सफर जारी रखना है। हो ना सके जो हासिल, ऐसा कुछ नहीं दुनिया में, अपने दिल के इरादों को बुलंद रखना है। जारी रखना है, जारी रखना है, ख्वाबों को देखना जारी रखना है। On this note, we welcome you all on our streaming show where we celebrate the spirit of womanhood. And our guest today is super talented Bhavani Iyer with us. We welcome you, ma'am. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome, ma'am. So we welcome you to streaming. And streaming is a show where Stree is a word which means lady in Hindi, and Ming is a Chinese word which means light. Hence, streaming is about sharing the light of a woman or a bright woman. So here at streaming, we are connecting with women and we are discussing their stories so that we can share their light with the world. So we welcome you, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
So we would like to tell about you. So you are a great screenwriter and a novelist from Mumbai. And you have given us amazing big Bollywood movies like Razi, Lutera, Black, Guzarish, and amazing shows like The Empire and Kafir, and many more shows like that. And you made your debut in the cinema industry with the great Sanjay Leela Bhansali sir through Black movie. So, ma'am, we are so glad to have you with us today, and we're looking forward to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
So, ma'am, firstly, I would like to know that you started your career with advertising and then you moved to journalism and editing, and then you got into screenwriting. So, ma'am, what was your, inspiration, or what got you into screenwriting and writing, and what has been your journey?
The thing is, writing is something that I think has been part of my life from very, very early. And therefore, it was never really a choice that I would choose uh, any field that would lead me towards writing and expressing myself with words. So from a very young age, I was always writing. From the age of 7 or so, I was, constantly with words, expressing myself and telling the stories that I could tell at that age. And I when I got into college, I found that I had a lot of time because I was living away from my family. I was in Mumbai while my family was in Bangalore. So I thought of taking up a job because I had so much time, and I thought copywriting seemed like a very interesting space to be in. And so while I was an undergraduate, I was working with an ad agency as a trainee copywriter, and it was really fun. But the minimalism that advertising requires, you've got to say the biggest things in the smallest amount of words. That kind of got to me because I love the more the better for me. So I thought that yes, it was a great initiation into the world of professional writing. But then I graduated and I learned about opening with Magna Publications, that is, which had Stardust, Showtime, and all these magazines, and they wanted a sub editor. So I thought that sounded very interesting, and I got the job. And within a few months, I became the editor of the magazine purely because of the fact that it was a .com boom at that time. It's like 2000, and everybody was moving into .com. So I was at the right place at the right time, maybe. So I became the editor of the magazine very quickly at a very young age. So while I was with Stardust, I met a lot of writers, people from behind the scenes, because that always fascinated me. I wanted to know more about how cinema was made. I was not really very engaged or kicked about, just the glamour of it. I wanted to know how things worked, how, and before that, I had no background in writing at all, in the sense in cinema at all. So I would not watch many films. I had not really seen too many movies. I had no understanding of the history of cinema. But I was very interested to know how it was made. And then I met writers and read some of my work and said that, oh, you must write for films. So yeah, that's how it worked out about, my journey from uh, copywriting to journalism to screenwriting.
Also, I heard, ma'am, like you were about to do something related with genetic engineering course and
Yes,
later.
yes. I am a graduate in life science with my major in genetic engineering. So I wanted to become a genetic engineer because I was a very good student. So I thought that, okay, this is where I can, science seemed like the natural progression. But then I realized that writing is where my heart was at. So it just drew me. There was no contest at all.
Yeah.
Science lost.
No, I think it will always be a part and it help us somewhere, while penning it down. We are like more realistic. Okay, these are the things how it work. And also, ma'am, like you have wrote screenplay based from novels, right? And also the short story for the Lutera and all. And I understand the way the novel are written is in a bit a different format, and then to adapt it, for the visualization, for the screen space, that goes a very different way. And I was reading like from Satyajit Ray also keep on saying, like when he adapted many novels and short story for his film, he tried to give it a a different ending because visually it's not suiting to the screenplay. So we would love to know, like, what is your process of churn out a screenplay of a movie from a book or a novel?
Well, a novel is it is a deep dive into the author's mind, and everyone processes a book very differently. The way you read a book, the way I read a book, because of our experiences, because our visualization and the ability that we have, the context that we have, we take very different lessons away from a book. It is completely open to interpretation. But cinema does not allow you that. Cinema is, it is very definitive in terms of the way the story is told and the visual context to it. So while when you're adapting a novel or a short story or anything which is uh, already present, you're not creating it new for this cinematic experience. You're using material that is already there. It is a very big responsibility because there are people love that and they see it very differently. So they may not so many a time we hear this, oh, the book was far better than the movie. So which is a constant fight for a screenwriter when he or she is adapting. So that biggest challenge is to not replicate the novel, because you will fail at that. It is to find your own truth and your own story within the novel. So how, what you connect to, what is the story, what is the singularity that speaks to you, and then tell that story. Keep the heart of the novel and the story intact, but tell that story the way you would tell the story, which is what I have tried to do with all my adaptations. And fortunately they seem to have resonated with the audience, without them thinking that, oh, why did they do this.
So true. And all your story which you have written, the adapted one, it just seems so heartful and the soul is correctly placed and very well told, ma'am. Like we need to find our own connection with it and try to do it. That's a very, very good lesson, ma'am. We all are learning from you.
Yeah, thank you
It
so
will
much.
surely help us.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, you mentioned that you cannot exactly replicate a novel, and you shouldn't be doing that, and you have to find your own truth. So that's about the whole storyline and scripting of it. So, ma'am, how do you pick characters from a novel or a short story while you are writing your script? Like there are so many characters in a book, and how do you filter which ones are going to be in the final script?
It's a very organic process. I won't say that I am entirely responsible for choosing, which character stays and which doesn't. It's purely, when you decide that, okay, I am going to tell uh, the story of The Last Leaf from the point of view of this young couple, where in the story, in the original story, there was an old painter and a tenant who lived in the apartment below. Whereas here it is a story about, a young couple, a young boy and a young woman. And so once you do that, you need to place a few things in context to that. And so you take the essential story of the plot of the story or the plot of the novel. So for instance, in Calling Sehmat, which became Razi, you again, the story that I thought was interesting to me, which I wanted to explore, was the story of this young man and woman from two countries who are adversaries, and who are honestly in almost the same situation, because they are both pledged, their patriotism is pledged to the country on their behalf. They don't have a say in it. Their father, respectively, both their fathers decide that this is what they have to do. So I thought it was very interesting to find out how would this couple engage, and how would they what would emerge from their relationship and their time with one another. So once I decided that was a story, then you realize that, okay, you need these many characters to people the stories. These characters are not interesting or not important, or they're not contributing to the story. So it's just a very organic process, because once you choose a story, then the characters people themselves in the story.
Very true, ma'am. And also, like, normally in Bollywood, the definition of strong female is narrowed in one category. Like, giving them a police officer role, or either they are taking revenge, after some mishap. But you showed us normal female can also be strong. And that is really a fresh perspective. And what is your inspiration behind that?
Uh, that's such a good question. The thing is, I think my inspiration are the women around me. Are all of us. Because we don't wear superhero capes, and we don't have guns, and we don't. Yes, there are those women also who are in the police force, who are forced into a life of some kind of violence because of the circumstances. But the people that largely inhabit the worlds that we live in are women who have a very strong innate sense of strength, which is never overt, which is never about physically expressing itself, because that is not male. It's not male strength, it's feminine strength. And I felt that taking agency, where, like, for instance, in Lutera, where Pakhi asks, she's the one who professes her love for Varun instead of waiting for him to talk to her. So in giving agency to the woman, I feel that is truly empowering her, because you're giving her the ability to make decisions for her life, for herself, and for the circumstances, and own the circumstances that she's in with. So it was just that. It was just me wanting to show the women around us. I read a very interesting quote a couple of days ago, which said, I have rarely seen men who are as interesting as the men we see in the movies, and I've rarely seen women who are as strong as they are in the movies. So it is so true, because in real life, the women whom we encounter every day are so phenomenal. Every woman has so much strength, so much to give, so much to teach, and so much to take away from. So I think my endeavor was just that, to show real women, commonplace women, who are not superheroes, but who have innate strength like any woman does.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, like you said, that it's important to give that agency to the woman so that she can realize her inner strength, because that's the innate power. But rather, even if we see, like, in our society, it's always the external factor that is used to show that, okay, a woman can be strong only if maybe she's married, or if she's into defense services, or she's into police force or something like that. So nobody actually talks about the inner beauty and inner power of a woman. So that we, we've got to see in your movies, like whatever you have written and the way you have shown these common women as so powerful and beautiful. So
Thank you so much.
that's like really
Even
nice,
with
ma'am.
even with a show like The Empire, Khanzada, who is Babar's sister, she doesn't, when she's a strong woman. Isan Daulat, played by Shabana Azmi so brilliantly, she's a strong woman. These are women who have strength, who are unafraid of their femininity, who are not, they don't want to become men. They want to be strong women themselves. So, even with Empire, that was the attempt that historically it is said that Shebani Khan, when he captured Khanzada, he slashed her face to mar her beauty because she was so proud of her beauty. But I didn't want that, because again, that makes the man, the powerful one. The woman becomes the poor little thing, who has to be, who's in distress and needs to be saved. Here, I didn't want that. I didn't want that to be the narrative, that, there could be another narrative. So I thought that it would be interesting to make Khanzada take that knife and say, you know what, you think, you can have, you are fascinated by my beauty and you think that is all there is to me. Here, I don't have this beauty anymore, and still see how strong I am. Or, you see that, agency, and her saying that, no, I will stay back with Khanzada, with Shebani Khan, because I don't want my family to be paying the price, or the subjects to be paying the price for my for his obsession with me. So again, the endeavor was that to give her, to give the woman the power, which could be, historically, maybe that is what happened. We never know, right? So I didn't want to play into the narrative of the poor little woman, who needs to be saved.
Yes, ma'am. So like when I watched that particular scene, I got goosebumps, and now when you are telling it again, I got goosebumps that when Khanzada did that particular thing to, mar her beauty. So, ma'am, like that is something that we should all, consider, that women are generally shown as like delicate, and they are like, as you said, poor little thing. And men are always shown, they are physically strong, they can fight, so they can do anything, whatever they want. So like if they go to a war, so they are considered that they are very strong because they can fight, they can kill somebody, they can, physically be very powerful. But I think when I saw this show, The Empire, so I felt that more than the actual king, it was Khanzada or it was Shabana Azmi's character, that they actually use their intelligence, they actually use their strength, and it was not just about beauty, it was more of their intelligence and smartness. With that, they actually, saved a lot of people, or you can say made Babur the emperor.
Right, absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. And ma'am, again, okay, so now I would like to know that there are few stories like Lutera or Black. So Lutera is set up in Bengal, and Black is set up in Shimla and in 1950s. So ma'am, how do you choose that which place or which era you're going to go with your particular story?
Again, it is the story that tells you that. It's the story that you want to tell, which, uh, you know, decides the period that it has got to be set in, and uh, the setting of the location or the place that it is at is honestly something that, I think if you're familiar with the place, if you know the historic significance of a place, then it plays more into your narrative. It helps you, with your plotting, with your story also. So Lutera was a story of a love which is so deep and so sacrificing, that, here's a man who is willing to, end himself so that the woman he loves can live on. This cannot be a story that is set today, because today the definition of love is very different. We break up over texts, and marriages get. I just recently read somewhere that a woman asked for a divorce because the man couldn't park the car correctly. So, I mean, these are very different times. So it cannot be set in today's time, because then it seems a little farcical that, how would a man like this exist today? So that immediately decided that the story needed to be set in a period. Then, the fact that he, I felt that it would be good for him to be this thief. Then, the Zamindar Abolishment Act, which was enforced which was enacted in Bengal in 1960s, that came into play. So I thought, oh, that works very well. Also, then the electricity coming into the city, into the little town that this story was set in. So all of that kind of made it very, almost correct that it should be set in that time and place. Also, as for Bengal, I'm a huge Banglaphile, so I'm enchanted by Bengal. I'm enchanted by the city, by its culture, by its literature and all of that. So it was a very easy fix for me to set it there. Also, Black, because in today's time, that when a child is born with certain handicaps, there are many schools around. But Black was set based on the principle. Essentially, it was a kind of a story of meant to be a story of Helen Keller's life. So, and her relationship with her teacher Anne Sullivan. So when that this that a teacher needs to play such a significant role, and a teacher who is rare because there aren't so many schools that she can send her to. So again, that indicated that the story needed to be set in a particular period. It couldn't be a modern day story. And initially I had intended it to be a bungalow in Colaba. That's how I had written it. But then Sanjay felt that recreating Bombay of 1950s would be a very tough ask. So, but the colonialism of Shimla is still intact. The architecture is still as it would have been back in the 50s. So we chose Shimla as the location. So yeah, these are things that play into the decision making of these.
Ma'am, your screenplay of Lutera is like so amazing. Like, all the detailed pauses which you have given in their relationship and the love story, and the way the Paki is, like as you also told, like she is daring enough to tell her love. And still, like, ma'am, when I watched it, I'm telling you, like, if I would have known you that I would want like to give you a big hug, like, except now, ma'am. That's like the best love story for me so far. And also, ma'am, like, it's based on O. Henry, but still, like, before interval, I think it's all your job. That story doesn't come, it's pure love story, right? I'm hats off for that. Like, I just want to know, like, ma'am, who is your favorite writer?
Okay, so screenwriters, one of my favorite writers is Aaron Sorkin. I think he's really brilliant the way he structures a screenplay. In India, I really like Juhi Chaturvedi's work. I think she's excellent voice as a writer. Novelists, I have a bunch of favorites, but my all-time favorite is Somerset Maugham. I love his work. And well, I can, it's a very long list, but these are just the three names that, I'm telling you.
Ma'am, do you want to suggest anything for young writers who want to write screenplay? Any advice or tip you want to tell them?
The only thing I would suggest to any young writer who wants to be a screenwriter is keep writing. Watch a lot of stuff and watch varied things and keep writing, because writing is the only way you will know how to write. It's a craft which comes with a lot of practice, a lot of hard work. You keep doing it, and by the time you're writing your fifth or sixth screenplay, you will know, okay, this is how it's done. It's just that you can't, there is no class or school or anything that can overcome just the physical act of writing.
Yes, ma'am. So I think that's very important, just to keep writing, because a lot of people don't write, including, I would say even earlier when I started writing some short poems or other things. So I'll be like, no, I can't write. I don't know how it will be. So, it's always that we just get stuck with that idea that maybe it is not good. Instead of just writing and without deciding good or bad, we should just write.
Never judge your writing before it's down on paper. Write it, because the act of writing, while you write, magic happens. It doesn't happen before, it doesn't happen here. it happens when you're with your pen or on your keyboard. It happens while you're doing it, because there is some visceral force that kind of comes into play. It is a synergy between your heart, your soul, your mind, and the pen and paper that you're with, or the computer and the screen and the keyboard that you're with. It just happens at that point. So just write. Never, and please don't judge yourself. The world is doing that, a very good job of that all the time. So we don't need to add to that. So just keep writing. Yeah.
And ma'am, sorry, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am. Which character you enjoyed most, like so far? Which is your favorite character? Like, I just want to know. Curious to know that.
That's very difficult to say. All my characters are so dear to me because they all came from so much love, and all of them are very, very special to me. I can't pick a favorite.
It's just like you are a mom to all the kids, and you
Yes,
don't
yes,
want to pick one.
absolutely. I have
Anyone which like, gave like pure bliss or some.
all of them, all
Oh.
of all of them. It's like, honestly, I have 8 pets in my house, and I can't say which one of them gives me more joy, because they all do. They all are so special, and they give joy of a different nature. So each experience it's not a composite of the same versus the same. It is so different and so unique. So I just can't pick. So sorry.
No problem, ma'am. Yeah, Waltree.
So, ma'am, also, what kind of message you would like to give to all the women out there? Something that you want to, we know that through your movies and through your scripts, you are already doing that. But personally, if there's something that you would like to tell all of them.
Well, I'm too small a person to give a message to all the women who are such, I think we all are doing a great job, just, moving from day to day, fighting all the patriarchy and all the stuff that the world is throwing at us. The only thing I have learned from all the women that I have known and who live around me is the fact that our strength is immeasurable. We don't know the reserves of strength that we have within us. So if you can do anything that you set your mind, anything at all.
So true, ma'am. But you are already giving us the light and strength with your writing. It's so good to see your characters, and writers. I think are blessed with the power of words, and and that craft remains even we die. It's always you are creating a legacy for all the females out there. To speak out, to live with it. So that's an amazing job you are doing out, ma'am. Also, ma'am, I want to know, like, when you write any story or the character, do you imagine any actors while writing or?
Never, never, never.
Okay.
I never imagine any actors. Only once. That is when I was writing Guzarish, I saw Shah Rukh Khan play it. But
Oh.
Hrithik did such a brilliant job too. But in my mind, because of the sarcasm and because of the way the character was evolving, with such a wicked sense of humor, I kind of saw Shah Rukh Khan as the character, and he's also one of my favorite actors. So yeah, but otherwise, no, I don't see any actor. I just see the character for who they are. They're like hazy but slightly deformed, slightly formed characters.
Was there any scene where you were struggling or for the conflict anytime, and how you overcome with that? Like, because that happen as a writer, right? Sometimes we just get stuck. Like, we will be keep on thinking about like 2, 3 conflict, which will go ahead. So, do you follow any process for it, like how to choose the strong or just going with the flow and believing?
No, I don't choose. I think
Hmm.
the biggest mistake that I or no, this is my opinion, of course, but I feel the biggest mistake that a writer can make is thinking that they can control the narrative. I think you should just, the best thing is to let the narrative control itself and let it talk to you. So the moment it's not speaking to you, the moment you get stuck, the moment and yes, it happens to all of us. You feel that, okay, I am not able to move beyond this. Move away. Don't soldier through it. Move away, do something else. So I clean my shoes, I play with my pets, I go for a walk, I do anything other than, and I never push it, even if it is a day or two passes and I'm not able to find a progression within what I want to, which makes me happy, which makes me joyous. I just don't, I don't push it. And then it just comes, and then you're thinking about some random thing, and then you realize, oh shit, this can be a very interesting way to move forward in this story or in this particular conflict. And that happens. So yes, it is very important as a writer, because you're writing screenplay, which is, about a 2 hour for a 2 hour film, or when you're writing a, web series or a web show, which is 8 episodes, which is like 40 multiplied by 45 minutes each. So when you're writing something that is that vast, you need to know a sense of where you're going. So have that, have an initial flow of point A, point B, point C, and where point C is going to be the end or the resolution. Know generally where you're going. It's like you're climbing onto the train at VT station. Know that you're going to go to Vashi via Kurla, but don't plot the stations. Don't say, oh, this, I will take the train, or I will do this, or I will just know where you're going, but then allow the story to lead you. So yeah, that is what. And yes, I have got stuck, it happens to the best of us. And yeah, the only thing I've done is let it be. This is one thing I've learned over all these years as a writer. Never push it.
Yeah, it's a huge learning, ma'am. And also, like, few people follow some specific pattern, like either they are coming up first with the log line, and then they go with the synopsis, then character sketch, and then also the beats they do follow, like the story beats. So I really would love to know, and I'm sure the audience would also like to know, like, do you follow these kind of pattern or structure while writing?
Well, these are things that, any that a script or a Bible that you deliver to a web platform, these are things that need to be present, but they need not really flow in that particular order. I never let it define me. I never let it define my process of how I'm going to write. Many a time, like for Kafir, the story and the, what happened in reality, that led me into the story. That told me how the characters would evolve. I'm writing, another film which has been announced, which is based on the life of this woman named Jiva Jyoti, who fought the Dosa king, who was, a man who was kind of sentenced for murdering her husband, and how, and her story of struggle of losing the man she loved, and him being murdered by somebody who was obsessed with her. So in that instance, I spoke to the woman, and her story, her narrative and what she felt and her emotions while she was narrating it, that fueled me into telling the story. So many a time it is different things. So you may probably write the entire story first, then go back and write the log line. That's absolutely fine. You just need to find your entry point into the story, whichever it is. For me, that is how it has worked. I just need to figure out what is my way to enter into the story. And it never is the same for two stories. It's always different. And that's the joy, because that's what is, no 2 days of writing are ever alike. And that's such a high.
So true, ma'am. Ma'am, would you like to tell us about your future projects which you are working on?
Sure, I'll tell you about the ones that have been announced. So there is the biopic of Sam Manekshaw, Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw, which is with Meghna Gulzar. That is, we start shooting that early next year. And then there is this film which is based on the life of this woman who was, it's almost like a progeny of, a predecessor of the Me Too movement, where this woman, way before, it was ever thought of that a woman could have the agency to fight against a very powerful man. She did that. So there's that story, that film, which I'm presently writing. I'm writing a web series on Maharani Gayatri Devi. And yeah, and then there's a bunch of other stuff, but these are the things that are immediately coming on the floors.
Are there any plan, ma'am, like of turning into producer or making your own production house, or are you like so happy with right now writing?
No, I have no brain for producing or for money or for logistics. I am purely a writer at heart, and I'm happiest doing that. So no plans of doing anything else, no production or anything for me.
All the best, ma'am, for all your future projects, and keep us giving all the light which you have. We all can shine in that, like all the female out there. And it's so good to have you, ma'am, today with us. And also, we would like to tell us about our Haas Se Hetu film. So we started it with an intention of serving happiness to all the people. So we are doing the content, the humorous content for the family. And not only we are releasing the videos and the song, we also conduct clowning workshop.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's energy clowning workshop. And people are thinking, all the theater is always related with acting. So, but actually it's a way of living your life. And like me and Molshi, we both are from theater background.
Okay.
We really want to spread that light.
Oh, that's so amazing. That's so amazing. More power to you and more power to the work that you do. We really need all of this art in these times.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yeah, Molshi, you want to say something?
Thank you so much, ma'am. Like, it was so good to, actually talk to you about your journey and your process of writing, because we have seen your work already on big screen and we have thoroughly enjoyed. But this was more interesting to, talk to you, because the person behind those, big movies, the person who actually created the story that could be later created into a big movie. So, ma'am, just one last thing I would like to know from you. Other than writing, ma'am, what do you enjoy and what is your happiness mantra?
What a nice question. So, writing honestly fuels me. It is therapeutic for me. I get over my, I have any anxiety or any issue that I have that kind of needs resolution and I'm not able to find it. Writing kind of leads me to that. It calms me. But apart from writing, if I were not a writer, I probably would have been an interior designer, because I love spaces, and so I keep changing things around my house, and I keep. I'm not an artist. I don't paint or anything. But I love doing that, and my biggest passion is animals. I love animals. I do whatever I can to, help many of these street, animals get rehabilitated. And I'm very, I love social work, which is towards, enabling them to have a better life and live in a better world. So that is what makes me happy. And yes, I love clothes and fashion. So yeah, like any other woman, I guess. Yeah.
Sure, ma'am. That was just so good to know that you're also a social worker. Apart from, writing, you also do such great work. So
I've just started. I just hope I can do a lot more. And yeah, but thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure talking to both of you. And I wish you all the best. And if there is anything you need from me, towards your endeavor, please feel free to ask, and I'd be happy to contribute in whatever way I can.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That means a lot. And all the females out there, please speak up freely, and whatever you feel, you have to express. Don't be quiet. We all are there to hear. And thank you so much, ma'am. All the best, ma'am, and all our prayers and blessings for your healthy life and super success of your coming shows. Keep on writing, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you
Bye,
so
ma'am.
much. Much love to both of you. Bye.
Bye.